Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boys here again, Dean and Kit, and we've decided to have a discussion video because I was thinking, and why is it that Aggro was doing so well when set 1 dropped? And then I realized something, right, when we started discussing a little bit, and I said, do you think it's the mulligan mechanic? So, if for those who don't know, if you play digital Shadowverse and you get a 3-card starting hand, each player does, and then you get to choose selective cards to go back into the deck, and then you draw that many, as many as you mulligan. So you can mulligan like 2 cards and keep 1. And then if you go first, you draw once, and if you go second, you draw 2. So you start off with 4 cards going first, 5 cards going second. In physical, you start off with a 4-card hand, and you mulligan the entire hand to the bottom. You shuffle it up, or I think you get to choose the order. But it goes to the bottom of the deck, right? So it's basically 36 cards deep. And then you draw a new hand of 4, and you don't draw going first, and you do draw going second. So you start off with 4 cards and 5. So you start off with the same number of cards. But what I was thinking is, I think the hand quality is what matters most, right? And so I have like 2 different decks up. Like one is Aggro Shadow, where we get to see the curve here of 12 1-drops, 9 2-drops, 3 4, and then 3, right? And then on Dragon, we see 6 1-drops, 2, 3, 4. And then on top of that, something that's also important is we have this 5-drop, right? We have 4 or 5 drops. My computer's lagging a little bit. Hope that's not going to look too bad. But we've got like tech right here, like conflagration. And then this is supposed to be the Dragon, but because I had to use deck log to get those stats, I couldn't put 3 Shenlongs in because of those who don't know, Shenlong is currently at 1. And it would not let me put 3 in. I probably could have hit a checkmark box, but Japanese is hard. But we see single conflagration, right, in this list. And my thought is, like, this deck, right, you need to see Dragon Oracle, right? You need Dragon Oracle in the opener. And sometimes you may open removal, or you may open, like, Dragon Warrior, right? Dragon Warrior's on 3, though. And the thought is, in like, if you're playing digital, right, and you see Dragon Warrior, you know you're against aggro, right? You probably keep it, especially if you know it goes to the bottom, because then you know there's only 2 left in your deck. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because like there's no shuffle or anything afterwards. You just can consider the cards you mulligan away just basically dead unless you have a way to search them out.
Yeah, and so that's a huge problem. So, but we look in here at this deck, and this aggro deck has so many 1-drops and 2-drops, right? If you don't open enough, chances are there's enough in your top 4. So I think it's more about the consistency of only seeing 4 cards and then like having to like just like raw mulligan, because it's like it just makes things awkward, right? Because you're less likely to see your tech cards against aggro, or you're more likely to have to like mulligan them away because like maybe you just don't have the curve to get to it, right? If you open conflagration but you don't have the Dragon Oracle, there's no way you can make it to turn 5 against an aggro deck. But if you do see the conflagration, then you have to put it at the bottom, and then if you see Dragon has no form of shuffling, this tech could be absolutely worthless depending on the quality of your starting hand, because no amount of draw 2 ditch 1 is going to ever get you to the bottom of the deck in a situation like that. And so that was just like kind of my thought. I don't know if it's good, I don't know if it's bad, because like in physical we do have search on a lot of like crafts. I don't know if you noticed this, but I guess we chose 2 bad crafts because like there's not really a lot of search in blood either. Blood is just kind of like play off the top of your deck and draw, and so is dragon. But like sword has search, haven has search. Does forest have search? Is that one? I don't think it does. I think it just summons a bunch of
Not
fairies and
100% sure on
draws.
that.
You do have search, and I think that's going to be the big thing. Yeah, that was just kind of the thought. It was more of like a shower thought almost about how maybe, you know, when you're deck building, think about this. Think about how that mulligan changes how you're going to play. And do you have anything you want to
Yeah,
add?
especially like kind of like how you pointed out too. I think one thing to note is that like if you're playing a more of aggressive low curve strategy like aggro nightmare or abyss craft, it's interesting because you can get a hand of 4 like 1-drops, but if the quality of the 1-drops is good enough for you, I think you have no fear of just discarding that entire hand because you have so many other. You have such a low curve that your mulligan shouldn't matter that much, right? Because you're still gonna be ripping off some of these like 1-drop cards to start adding pressure to the board immediately, right?
Yeah, because like you're
Yeah.
your curve is like going to be more consistent regardless of what you mulligan versus like a deck like the Dragon deck that is going to definitely struggle. And like especially like sometimes like you might see like double Dragon Warrior but no way to get to turn 3, and so you have to mulligan them away, and then it's like harder for you to actually clear out board pressure. So I'm seeing where while Dragon is a good class and like we have all of these good decks like this mulligan system could definitely throw a wrench into some of your slower game plans.
Yeah, especially deck building. I didn't really think about it much either, but like you said, if you have like a one or two of tech card in your deck for certain matchups, and you open that card, and every other card in your hand is basically dead weight until like way later in the game, you're just like, great, I have to like this one card that should win me the matchup is now I'm now forced to mulligan it away because
Or
there's
prey
no
on top
guarantee.
decks.
Yeah, because there's no guarantee that I'll be able to survive long enough anymore for this tech to even matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting to think about. I think you it definitely this definitely probably influences your deck building decisions too, right?
Yeah, it definitely makes a
Yeah.
card like Bellringer even more important than what I thought initially. Because like going 1 for 1 is it's not like this card is always good, but it being able like you being able to look at something like a conflagration in your hand and say, well, Bellringer it counts as 2 cards, right? So it's like I've already mulliganed 1 card in my hand by opening Bellringer.
Yeah, I mean in the matchups too, like Bellringer is just good in aggro against aggro as well. Yeah, it's just like you get to thin your deck for free and slow down the game. That makes sense as well.
If you guys like this discussion, want to see more, definitely drop a like. You guys got some topics that you want us to see? Definitely, feel free to recommend one in the comments, and we'll definitely, talk about it. And you got any shout outs, Kit?
No, just thanks for everyone that's subscribed to the channel. We've been growing and growing, so I hope
We've
that continues in the future.
definitely been exciting times. I hope that we continue to grow as this game gets more and more popular. Hopefully, you guys join us on the ride. And until next time.